Welcome back, guys. So today I'm going to be explaining to you all how I became a real estate agent. I've gotten a lot of questions recently through social media and through YouTube, and everybody's just been wondering what are the steps to becoming a real estate agent. So I'm going to show you guys, well, not really show you, but more so tell you today on how I did it. So super excited. Let's head over to the business table. Yeah, we got one, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So come on. Okay, to start, for those of you who may be new to the channel, my name is Ani Sorells. I am an agent in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex with Century 21 Judge Fite, and I am an active agent, and I am willing to help anybody who's looking to sell or buy. So I generally do on my channel anything beauty-wise, but recently I've got my real estate license and I started venturing into real estate. So we do have our series listed. If you guys have not checked it out, be sure to go look at it and, just kind of tell me what you think. But yeah, so recently started doing that. I did get my license, or well, I'd like to say I got licensed in August. That was when I passed my exam and I got my license and became an active agent. But for those of you who are here, you're probably here to figure out how did I get my real estate license. So I'm going to be giving you a summary of that. So okay, so jumping from the beginning, for the people who are looking to, kind of sort of be like, okay, so what happens when you want to get your license? Where do I go to school? How do I get in touch with, scheduling my exam? Depending upon the state that you're in, there are plenty of schools for a person who wants to become an agent to get licensed. I got my license in Texas, really. So I went online. There are plenty of schools that offer both, whether it's online or in school, physically, and online just worked better for me. If you're one of those people who are just like, yo, I can't do online, I have to be physically in classroom, they offer that too. So I went to Champions School of Real Estate, and is a series of classes. I believe it's a total of like 6 classes. So how it starts, you sign up for your classes. There are 2 different packages. One is for someone who wants to become a real estate agent and just basically take the core courses. The other one, it's a slight bit, it's like maybe $1,000 for just the basic course. And the one that gives you exam prep, which I would highly recommend, is about, I want to say $1,200. I mean, it's a little bit more expensive, but it is worth it. So keep that in mind. So I took my classes. I believe my first class was like Law of Agency, and it's 2 days, 30 hours, and you spend like from like 8 to 4:45 the first day, and the second day goes from 8 to like 3:45. And you do take an exam at the end of each class, so you do want to study very hard. It's very rigorous and it's very quick. So you definitely need to be motivated and determined if you are going to get your license and you are going to go online. Nobody is telling you to sit down and study, and I was really not the study type prior to this. So, it's good to have supportive people around you and people who are going to push you and motivate you to move forward and study and not waste your time, because you are putting money on the line to get this license. So you don't want to waste it. And the longer that you take to get the license, the longer it's going to take to actually get in the field. So you do want to be very determined to get it done and just focus and just go straight forward with, just getting it done and passing your classes. So I took a total of 6 classes. The hardest class, I would say, had to be contracts, because you have to know these contracts, and as a real estate agent, contracts change all the time. Like I was taught about contracts in the course, and by the time I got finished with actually getting my license, which wasn't very long, contracts had changed. So it was like everything I learned out the window, and learn this new contract, know what it means so you can explain it to your clients. So things are always changing in this industry, and it is important to be on the up and up about what is new, what you need to be able to project to your clients, and what new contracts there are out there, toss out the old. So that was definitely something that I had to learn. But Champion School of Real Estate does have some really good instructors. Miss Becky Hill was awesome. I passed every class that she did teach. She was very, very, very good with, going over the information and making sure that all of us students understood. And when it came down to my exams, I always passed with an A or B. Smooth sailing. So try your best to get really good instructors. And if you like one instructor and you find out that they're teaching another class, try to sign up for that class. If you're like me and you're trying to get through it fairly quickly, you might not have that option, and classes do fill up fast. So, keep that in mind. But, it's just something to think about. Also, the market is really good right now, so everybody is trying to get a real estate license. So, just understand that these classes do fill up fast. So don't hesitate, just jump right into it. That's what I did, and I ended up doing it. You do want to get all of your hours, so that's very important. It's very rigorous. These 2 days that you're taking, you cannot miss any time. You need to be determined to get it done. So I sat there regardless of what was going on. There were some days where I had to take a class on a Saturday and a Sunday, and it was dreadful because nobody wants to be in school on the weekend, but I was determined to get it done, and I did it. So just keep that in mind. For my parents out there, if you are, at least for champions, if you're extremely busy during the day and you can't take time to sit in class from 8 to 4, you can take classes in the afternoon or in the evenings. It's from 6:45 to 9, and it is 4 days out of the week instead of 2 because you're just splitting the time up over a course of time. So that is something to keep in mind if you are busy or you're a parent and you just don't have time to drop everything because of your responsibilities. So that's really cool. I thought that was awesome. I didn't take those classes because it's a little late for me, but it's just an option for those of you who might be looking like, I can't do this. You can. And these teachers and instructors are there to help you. A lot of them put their information out there for you to call them anytime, even after you pass and you're in the field and you're feeling like, what do I do? You can always call them and they'd be glad to help you. Victoria Subia, I believe that's her name. She was really good as well. I took a couple of her classes and passed straight through with flying colors. If you are not in the state of Texas and you are in Florida or California, there are plenty of other options for schools. You might just have to look it up and see via Google. I don't know what schools they have to offer, but there are plenty, and I'm sure they offer the same program. So just make sure you do your research before you jump into a school, okay?
What was your background before you got into?
So my background, I had no real estate background prior to getting into real estate. And once you get in the field, you kind of learn that there is a good mix of people. Some people come from real estate and they're just like, hey, I have a parent in real estate. I have family in real estate. I have a couple of friends in real estate. I was totally different. I didn't have any of that. So I kind of just jumped into it and did it on my own. And once I got my license, I just kind of went into the field by myself. But before I jump into that, let me explain the exam. So once you get through all of your classes and you pass your exams at the end of each course, you will get prepared to take your state exam. Now, there is 2 parts of the exam. There is state and national. The bigger portion of the exam is the national portion, so that's the longer portion, and then the shorter portion is state for Texas, okay? So each exam is different for each state, but I'm primarily speaking about Texas. So Champion School of Real Estate, I was telling you guys there were 2 courses or 2 options to take to get your license, and the second one, which I did, was the one with exam prep. Exam prep is extremely important. It is almost the same amount of time as a class. So it's 2 days. You go through the national portion on one day and the state portion on the next. It is important to take exam prep, guys. I took it at least 3 or 4 times, and it's just because, or maybe even 5. Say it's trying to tell me 5. Yeah. I took it a lot of times, and it's just because it's hard. This exam is not a fly-by-night exam. Some people pass it on their first and some people pass it on their third. It's very, very important to take the prep it's worth the $200. I mean, in my opinion, you can take it as many times as you want for a full year. So I think that is absolutely awesome for people who are not really good test takers like me. I took my exam twice before I passed. Well, I passed the state exam the second time, and then the third time I passed the national exam. So once you take the exam, depending upon what portion you pass, you may have to go back and take another portion, and it'll be different every time. So for my people who think that you're gonna go in there and take the test and then be like, oh, I remember what questions they asked me, and they come right back and take it the next time, no, it does not work that way. They make sure that there are different questions each time. So you kind of just need to know the materials. If you're gonna go with Champion School of Real Estate, I would prefer or recommend that you guys purchase the actual books. It makes a difference. There is, like online versions of the book, and I definitely did the online versions of the book up until exam prep. And then I had an actual book. I had a friend of mine who was an agent who let me hold the book. And it was significantly different from trying to read it online. There's so many more distractions and things happening on the computer versus just having a book and just looking at the words on paper. So it's very important to study. When I got ready to take my exam, I studied my butt off. I spent so much time just reading my book from front to back and just learning all of the information. It's very instrumental that you guys do that. I'm so serious. It helps a ton. So just make sure you put that in your thought process. So after you get to the point where you're taking your exam prep and you feel like, hey, I'm ready to go ahead and take this exam, I'm ready to take it on, you can go ahead and schedule for your exam through Pearson VUE. Your instructors should let you know that. When you are in the process of studying for your license, they'll say that through exam prep. They do give you a test in exam prep, or at least 4 different tests that you can take and study, and it's very good. It helps you realize everything. There were a couple of test questions that I saw in the exam prep that were on my exam. So, just make sure you guys study. If I don't tell you anything, and if you don't take anything else from this video, study, study, study. It is going to help you major through your exam and even into the field. Like, it's very beneficial. So make sure you guys do that. And once you schedule your exam and you take your exam, there's several different places that you can take it depending upon what part of the city that you're in. So I went to, the same place every time I took it because I was a little more comfortable there. And I passed the exam and I was ready to go. For those of you who do not pass it the first time or the second time, or maybe even the third time, depending upon what portion you fail, you might have to go back and retake a class. So keep that in mind. Don't take the exam too close together. If you didn't pass it by 2 or 3 points, do not go back the next day and try to retake the test. Really study and try to remember they give you a roster when you take it, and they let you know what parts you didn't do so well on. So if it was law of agency, go back and read your law of agency book. If it was contracts, go back and read your contracts book, because it's going to help you pick up those numbers and get more questions right. So that's what I did. Once I passed my exam, I moved into interviewing brokerages. I kind of started interviewing brokerages prior to taking my exam, and that was just because I'm an overachiever and I'm kind of a control freak, and I have to do it. I just had to. But it's really helpful because you kind of get the feel of what different brokerages that you like, whether it's Keller Williams, Century 21, what is it? I'm trying to think. Compass is one, but Compass is a little more for the big boys. You're not just getting into Compass unless you know someone. I'm trying to think of some other ones. But basically, there's going to be several different brokerages, and some of them will even call you and ask you to come in for an interview. Go, and ask them all the questions. That is the time to interview them. They're interviewing you, but you kind of get the chance to ask them, hey, what is my commission going to be like? What is day-to-day operations like? What training programs do you have? Because that's very important as well. You don't want to just go into a brokerage and then they just throw you out there and they're just like, okay, you're on your own, because that is very much so what the real estate industry is like. You are your own boss. So you don't have anybody telling you, hey, come in today from this time to this time. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. There is none of that. So when you get into this industry, you are by yourself, and it is pretty much up to you to come up with your schedule and figure out what you need to do to make yourself a known agent. So that's definitely something that you want to do. Interview, get out there, kind of ask them these questions that you want to know prior to joining on. And once you sit down at the end of the day and you've interviewed all of these brokerages, sit down and kind of weigh the pros and cons of each brokerage. And once you come up with what you like and the one that you like, you can tell them, hey, I want to join this brokerage after you get your license. And then you join that brokerage and you're good. You can, one thing before I move on to the next, I kind of felt out my brokerage before I joined. I went to a couple of team meetings. I popped up a couple times, even went to game night. And it was extremely beneficial to me because I got to know some of the other agents prior to joining, and that worked for me. But, you know, just keep that in mind. So once you get your license and you join your brokerage, now what? Training. So you will probably go through a series of training, and there's probably a lot of different things going on in the office, from mentors and, you know, different workshops and different things that you can sign up for to help you become a better agent and to kind of steer you throughout your way until you become a more seasoned agent. I would recommend that you guys talk to your seasoned agents in the office and kind of get the feel, sign up for open houses, you know, work with your mentors and kind of sit in with them when they're doing things like closings and working with clients. Go with them to a couple of showings. I did that, and it helped for when I do showings for my clients. So there's so many things that you can learn in this industry from other people around you, and I'm sure people are more than likely to help. So keep that in mind. So shifting gears a little bit into how it is today as a real estate agent, I love it so much because I love helping my clients. I love being able to hit the ground and, you know, help all the people who are looking to sell or buy, or even just people who have questions about real estate in general. I absolutely love my job and helping people. One thing that is extremely important is to talk to people. Like, you should be wearing your badge everywhere and you should be giving out cards everywhere. My mentor told me at one point, you should be giving out 10 business cards a day. I mean, real estate is one of those things that it's about not what you know, but who you know. You need to know a lot of people. So just don't be shy. Introduce yourself, talk to people, and kind of just get the feel of, you know, what people are looking for and help them. Don't be nervous. But yeah, so I mean, that's just my little spill about real estate and kind of how I got my license. For those of you who have more questions, please don't hesitate to leave them down below in the comments. Like, for real, leave them down below because I will be responding. And if you are newly licensed agent anywhere, let me know, because I mean, it's always good to know agents in different areas other than your state. That's very important. But yeah, so I mean, I hope that I was able to help and give you guys some more insight on real estate and how to go about getting your license and all that good stuff. So I hope it was helpful, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just for future reference, I will be doing some more instrumental videos for you guys, just explaining more about real estate and different things that you need to know if you're going to be going into real estate. So stay tuned for those. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you so much. If you guys have anything that you need, whether it's buying or selling needs, real estate questions, contact me in my information below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next time.